Good
Hello.
evening.
Hello.
It is Soulfire Ascension with Raven and Jessamy.
Good
And
to see everyone.
and as you can see, I am not in my normal spot in my office. I am at an undisclosed area. Um, the title of this show, or the content of this show, is what if all that you have been going through is preparing you for what you asked for? Really something to think about there. Um, and it's the year of the dragon
It
and
is.
transformation. And both Jessamy and I are going through transformations. I'm going through transformations in every part of my life. What about you, Jessamy?
I am big time. And some, well, they're all good. I don't want to say some good, some bad. They're all good, some a little painful. Um but yes, you and I are both dragons, and we're both going through that change. It's really hitting us. Um I'm going through a lot of stuff, body, mind, soul, deal. A lot of things in my life have just been almost uprooted and have been shot forward, and it's been good. It's been exhausting, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. You know how it is.
Yes, I do. Oh God, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Ours started with a fire, a
Mm-hmm.
house fire, and that's the transformation that's going on right now at the house. And I do have to do some shameless plugs here because Paul Davis is the company that came out after the fire, and let me tell you, they are on the spot. And we
Good.
have a project manager. Her name is Rhonda Richmond, and she is just awesome. She's no nonsense kind of lady, and she gets things done. And we have some painters at the house that are painting and restoring things. And they are the Flores, they're a couple, Belinda and Jose. And let me tell you, they are phenomenal. If you
Good.
ever need anybody to do any painting, they are so meticulous. And they don't play around, boy. They go to work and they work all day long.
Yeah,
They
because
are amazing.
they want to see you back in your home. It's not just a building to them too. It's they want to see you back and restored.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess our house has gone through transformation. Both of our workplace have gone through transformation, and my vehicle went through transformation, and we
Sure
even
did.
have family members that are going through some transformations right now. So, what if all of this is preparing us for what we asked for?
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like, and well, even with all the horoscopes that I have that I read, I do the whole yearscape type of deal, and all of my
And
horoscopes
so,
that have been coming forward say that this is going to be a very big year, not just for like our dragons, but I'm talking like for the Western zodiac. This is going to be a year that is going to really move everybody forward.
yeah,
This is going to be a massive time of transformation for everyone, and you have to be on it. You have to be ready physically, mentally, and spiritually, because if you're not, you're going to get left behind. And you won't be completely left behind, but you're going to be running to catch up, and you don't want that, not this year, because it's going to be an action packed year.
Yeah.
The way that there's planetary alignments that are crazy. There's different um, just different type of cosmic events that are supposed to set other things in motion, like a domino effect. Um, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit leery, as always, but I am looking forward to it. Um, but yeah, my last year, or last year, ended with a bang, and then kind of opened with a bang for me. Went through a bad breakup, and then, but with that, I had went through some things during that time that completely changed my spirituality, completely transformed me. Um, I have completely different views spiritually now, and I've already felt like I've progressed as a human, as a woman, as a mom. Even I've begun to to seek peace and healing. Whereas for a long time I was always in survival mode, and I was in a war mindset, that warrior mindset. And now I don't feel like I have to be. I feel calmer. Um, my chakras stay in alignment, and I'm able to help others with that even better. Um, and then I feel like as the weeks go on, so far, I know we're only in what, week 6 maybe of 2024,
Mhm.
that things are picking up momentum. I went from never thinking ever be able to buy a house to all of a sudden I'm approved in house hunting, um, and then things are picking up at work, like, and everything that I've been trying to manifest is coming to fruition. So I have to be on my game. I have to get going because I was praying for some big things, and so are you. You've got a lot of um, big things happening, and you were just saying too, like in the fall at the fall equinox too, about how you were sensing changes. You could feel things.
Mhm.
You knew that there was a wind up, and then it did. It really hit you.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that I think that I've learned through all this, I received in a meditation, I received a symbol, and I work with Archangel alchemy.
Hmm.
So I received a symbol, and it was actually from Archangel Ariel, who is Archangel number 8 on the star wheel. And she has been teaching me about surrender, especially with, the fire. Um, like, they have had to pack up all of our stuff, all of my crystals and everything else. And I had a hard time surrendering. But
Hmm.
you and I discussed. Now, tomorrow is actually the new year for the dragon.
Right,
So I
right.
have to show everybody my t-shirt. I'm here because I was told there would be dragons.
And I wore my red for the traditional Chinese New Year color. So
Yes.
I don't have any
So,
dragon clothing. I need to change that, Donna or Raven.
yeah,
I do. I need dragon clothing.
right.
So,
I need more dragon clothing, but
yes, maybe a cloak or something with scales. How about that?
yeah,
If we're gonna celebrate the year of the dragon, let's do it in
might as
style.
well. And I have also found that right now I am learning from the Phoenix as well. And of course,
Yes.
that we use Phoenix fire in
Yeah.
situations to clear, your body or whatever. And the day after the fire, um, I was asking for a message from my team, and that I came home from work, and like our whole bedroom, because that's where the fire was, our whole
Mm,
bedroom was taped off, and there was this big air scraper machine in there. And I was like, ooh. And I walked in there, and it said Phoenix Guardian and had
yeah.
the fire symbol. So I knew that right there was my message. That's what
Yeah.
I needed to see. But as you know, we are both learning to surrender. And I think that we discussed it the other day, how we used to say maybe do a spell or a prayer or whatever it is, for an intent for something to happen, and thinking
Right.
that we're controlling the outcome of that when we need to surrender it.
Right. Right. I have always had that urge to be controlling, not overly controlling, but um, growing up how I grew up, I was never able to have that control over what I said or what I needed. I was not a herd type of child.
Yep.
Um, so as I got older, I decided that I'm going to be able to do what I want and have it very nice and tightly secured. And then now, with everything that's happened in the few months, and then even within the last few weeks, I've learned that when you give it out to the universe and then you let go, and somebody told me the phrase "let go, let God,"
Yep.
and I'm like, "Let go, let God." Okay, and so I started doing that, and everything is like, I cannot believe it. And here, all these years, I've been practicing metaphysical practices and like witchcraft, paganism for over 20 years. And all this time, I was taught to you have the control, you've got the power of your own destiny, it's in your own hands. And now I realize, after 20 years of putting all my energy, and I might get it, might not. Um, and then taking all that and then looking at it now, where all I had to do was be clear and intent, and then give it to the universe, give it to the angels, have discussions with your angels about it, um and enjoy the process. It's all about the process.
Yep.
um but yeah, and trust the process. But I had a hard time trusting anyone, let alone trusting myself, trusting God, angels. But I've learned to listen to the synchronicities. That's a big one. When you
Yes.
start paying attention to the messages and the synchronicities, it's easier to just be like, all right, you guys are doing your thing, and I'll put in the physical labor, and then you do the rest, and then things have been great.
So,
So
and something that you said, not to pick on you, but we
yeah,
have to think about our vibrations when we're manifesting things. We don't want to do
yes,
under a very low vibration. So when we start, and I'm very notorious for doubting myself.
hmm,
But when we doubt ourselves, we lower our vibrations.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yep.
we need to pay attention to our vibrations, and surrender, I think, is the hardest thing. Um,
It really is.
I don't think that we are the only ones going through transformation.
Not at
Me
all.
I think I have heard from everybody
Hmm.
going through transformation.
Yep.
Can some of our viewers talk about any transformations they might be going through?
So I've heard a lot from people that have like small businesses, the cottage industry businesses, even people like the ghost hunter teams. Everybody is having an influx of opportunities, and that's a big thing I've noticed this year. Like all those synchronicities, it's all about opportunities. It's been all of my tarot cards, or my tarot pulls, has been like Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. Um, so like if you guys see an opportunity that you think would be really good, jump on it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But likely this year, I have a feeling it will. Um, and then some of the star charts that I have been looking over for quite a few people have all said that even if something sounds too good to be true, this year is the year to go for it. Now, don't buy into scams and things like that,
No.
obviously. But um, yeah, if you think that your crush is, yeah, it would be too good to be true to go and talk to your crush and see if you could get a date, do it, because you'll probably get it. Like it's that year. Um, it's that collective. It's going to be my year type of thing for everybody, and it's good. And we can make it a positive thing if everyone in the whole collective would be able to step forward and utilize it.
So Lynn O asks, what is it that I asked for? I really think that I asked for several things, because I remember finishing painting the bedroom and going, I'd really like to have new carpet. I just didn't think this was the way it was going to happen.
Right. And then that fire started on the floor, didn't it, in your room?
Yes, it
Yeah.
started with my cat. I have to take her in and have her, I shave her down, but I
Mhm.
have I work for a vet once a month, and because she's not very nice and she's a long haired cat and I don't want her to get matted, so I shave her down. And so she loves the heat. So I bought her this little bed that, you plug into the wall and it heats up and it's got a little roof on it. And she actually spent the majority of her time in that bed. And I thought, well, it's okay because my husband just had major surgery and he's home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to plug it in. Well, thank God I was home. One of my clients, canceled suddenly with their dogs, and if they hadn't canceled, I wouldn't have been home. But
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't matter. My husband was the quick thinker. He's the one that grabbed the bedspread and got the fire out before it actually did more damage than, or caught onto the curtains and stuff like that and did more damage. It was not so much that the fire itself did so much damage. It was the smoke damage from the fire,
Yeah.
and it went all through that floor of the house. It was crazy. So, and I have been working on redoing one room at a time, but apparently the universe wanted to speed me up and said, "Hey, surrender because this is happening
Mhm.
this way." So sometimes we need to surrender and allow the divine to do their work. The divine
Mhm.
mother, divine father, whoever it is you believe in.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I've started to work with the archangels too, and I've noticed it. Like you say, you always say your team, um, and I've noticed that when I step back a little bit and I use that team kind of phrase, things work better. They want to be acknowledged, so acknowledge your sources, acknowledge your team. um get to know the angels and their signs, because a lot of people are like, well, what angels would be around me? um like you can teach people how to tap in and tune into their angel guides, and they give signs too. But when you start acknowledging them as your team, or your people, um that things do pick up as well. But I'm just, oh my goodness, I keep flashing back to that. I'm just so glad that you were home, and that was right around Christmas too, wasn't it? It was
It was the
very,
21st. It was
yeah,
actually the winter solstice.
solstice. Yep. Um, and that's a high tension time anyway of
Yeah.
the year for everybody, and I'm so glad that you're safe and that you're home. And yet your husband was going through a lot of healing too, because he had
Yeah.
just had surgery.
Yep.
Um, my son and my mother had both had ortho surgeries about the same time that Tim did.
Hmm.
Um, so that has been a whole process too, getting my son back healing and everything. So if I could honestly write every little synchronicity that's happened since right before Thanksgiving, and all the messages and all the transformations, I could fill up probably half of a journal.
Oh,
It's just
absolutely.
been
I know I
amazing.
could.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Um, so what do you think would be one of your favorite types of messages when it comes to your transformation, when you're ready to step out and you're like, I can feel a change? What is the one thing that you usually look for? Do you have a sign that your angels give you, or um
Um, Basically, it's the synchronicities that give me the messages the most.
yeah.
And when I get a synchronicity, I try to figure out, oh, by the way, Lynn, oh, thank you so much. I love you. But when I get a synchronicity happen, and I pay attention to it, and when I get into my meditations, I start my meditations on it. Now I have been starting to have more communication with Archangel Michael, and that was awesome. And I had not realized that Ariel was trying to communicate with me because I didn't recognize the symbol at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was taking this class with Aurora
Mm-hmm.
and Rising Phoenix Mystery School. You guys,
Yep.
it's an amazing place. Aurora is truly an amazing lady.
Yep.
But I was taking the archangels classes, and I was looking at the archangel alchemy for Ariel, and I saw the symbol that was given to me. So then, I've decided, okay, so I learned, with Aurora what exactly Ariel was teaching, and I was getting the message of surrender myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that Ariel was sending me the message of surrender.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's how it works. It's like one thing builds on another as a building block, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And
Yep.
so I pay attention to the synchronicities. I pay attention to, like, if I see or hear crows or ravens or hawks, and
Yep.
because
Yep.
those are all part of my totems, and I know that I'm receiving a message at that time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I do the same thing. I look for synchronicities, especially in patterns. I'm big on patterns.
Mhm.
Um, Eventually, I wanted to get into the sacred geometry of things because it helps you to notice patterns even more. Um, and then I notice a lot of times, like my reading. Everybody knows that I'm a tarot reader. That's one of my very favorite things to do. I've done it for a long time. And then every time I've read for the past several months. At first I was getting a lot of the swords suits. So like there was
Mhm.
a lot of the 3 of swords, which is heartbreak, the 6 of swords, which is leaving a situation, and then the 8 or 9 of swords, which is, you're trapping yourself, and you're binding yourself up to where you can't even see like an out point. Um, and then I started changing things, and then all of a sudden, like, I started getting the tower, and I'm like, and nobody likes the tower card.
Oh my
It's
God, I got the tower and I was like, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna reshuffle this. Yeah, it's a very difficult card, and then
Yeah.
that came up in 3 different readings within 3 days. I usually try to do a daily reading, sometimes a little bit more. 3 days in a row, that tower card came up in the exact same spot, in the exact same format, and I'm like, okay, so it's coming. I don't have a choice. It's coming, and then things hit, and they really fell. Like that tower of mine just toppled, but um, after that, I was getting death, the card death. That's one of my very favorite cards because that is the
Sure.
transformation card. That is the number one transformation card in the tarot deck. So after the tower, I kept getting that over and over and over. And then I started getting the signs of rebuilding, and uh, the aces would come up. So like the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, which those means, grab onto the opportunities that are coming. Your chalice is being refilled so that you can give to others again, because I was depleted. Um, I had that almost like that martyr mentality because that's how I was raised. So it was give until you're depleted, and then you keep going until you're absolutely miserable. And I learned the hard way that that's not how it's done. Um, and then the more I work on that, the more that the cards are stacking up for me. Um, so I've learned to, even with my tarot reading, I've learned to not just take things as they were and then even intuitively, but to let it go let go of that concentration on the reading, and then they will guide you. And then, so the more I go through all of this, the more that I am taught to let go in every aspect. Just, chill out, take a breath. And then starting a new spirituality where like the core thing of it is peace and love. And that's all about letting go too. And like I said, I'm a Scorpio with a Leo moon and a Leo rising. So control is definitely our thing. And then having that dragon sign in us, that's all about control. Um, but being the year of transformation, it's time to learn something new and beautiful. And it's been wonderful. And I've gotten to know a lot of cool people that I never would have originally thought of associating with. Like normally I don't even accept friend requests on Facebook. I'm kind of a loner and stuff like that. But I started kind of opening myself up to divine and communication, and all of a sudden there's people in the paranormal community that are wanting to interview us and wanting to get on our show. And they're, so like connections are going crazy, and everything is falling together like Lego pieces. And
Well,
yeah, and it shocks me every day. It shocks me, and and I love it. It's one of those I'm pleasantly surprised. And it's a wonderful change in my life to see it. It's refreshing finally that, it's things are good. I feel like things are really good.
yeah, I feel like even though like every part of my life is going through a transformation right now, and it's like that arrow, it's got to come back or
Exactly.
it can go forward. And I think learning surrender has been my biggest
Yeah.
lesson, and realizing that I can manifest something, but I don't have control after I
Right.
say the words, "Hey, I'd like to do this," or think, every thought is a manifestation as well. So you better
Right.
be careful what you're
Yeah.
thinking. Don't be thinking negative thoughts.
Exactly.
And just, once you think it, okay, this is what I want, let it go. Don't
Absolutely.
hold any, don't put any energy in there like you're desperate or desperation, because that's
Right.
what you're going to get back when you put that energy in there. So just, I said, hey, I'd like to have some more, some new carpet in my bedroom.
Hey,
I
but
think,
it turned out new carpet and then beautiful paint on your walls
yes,
too. You've got
yes,
some gorgeous colors. So
yeah.
there's a lot of good things that
the,
happen with it.
the project manager thinks it's very colorful, and I'm like, well, I'm not a beige kind of girl, I'm sorry.
No, no. No,
um,
I saw those
I
colors,
like
the
color.
purples and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, that's the upper chakra level
Yeah,
purples, and yeah, I was excited to see it, and I don't even live there. I was just happy to look at the colors. So,
yeah. And when I get back and I set up my Reiki room
mhm,
and my crystals, and we talked about it. I have clothes that I haven't worn in years, so everything's been packed up and everything's gone
mhm,
to the cleaners and all of that for smoke damage. And I think when we get it back, things that I haven't worn or I haven't used in a couple of years, Tim and I have talked about it. We're going to have a garage sale,
yeah, yep, absolutely,
because I might fit back into that outfit, but you know what? If I do, I deserve to buy a new one
right, right,
instead of hanging
absolutely,
on to that. And that's energy in your house that you're hanging
mhm.
on to, you know?
Exactly, and that's the process of letting go too. I'm
Yes.
the same way. There's things where that I have that I haven't even touched in years. I look at it, but it doesn't serve a purpose for me anymore. And that does clutter. That clutters your energy. That clutters your aura. That's a whole topic and feng shui, is that how you pronounce it? Like
Yep. Yep.
the Chinese energy flow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why they're very adamant. Like, if you don't use it in 6 months, get rid of it
Mhm.
because it's no longer serving you. And I have to learn to do that. It's one of those that is definitely more difficult for me too. I'm not a hoarder by any means, but I like my things. That's that dragon energy is what that is right there. It's
Yeah.
dragon energy. I like our stuff, especially our shiny stuff.
Well,
Um,
yeah, because I've been dragging around this whole shelf full of all these shoes, and I
mhm.
guarantee you, I only wear 4 pairs of shoes
Right,
out of that
right,
whole shelf, and I'm like, is that the energy that I want to
mhm.
maintain in my home?
Right,
You know,
right.
those shoes are from the past in a different life.
Mhm.
They contain that energy from the past. So, am I going to be carrying everything from the past into the present? If I don't use it, it's just
Right.
nothing but energy sitting there. Do I
Exactly.
want that
Exactly.
energy into my home, or am I going to purge and renew not only the looks cosmetically of the home, but the energy wise too?
Yep, absolutely. Um, I've been doing a lot of really deep thinking about my space and the energy that I want to hold and carry. I'm working on buying a house. It'll be my very first house that I would have bought. Um, and
So
I'm caught in
excited for you.
between. Oh, thank you. Caught in between buying something and then we could possibly work out something to build on my farm. So I'm right in limbo, but either way, hoping to have something by summer, end of summer, um, if not before. There's been a lot of opportunities, but there have been some things that come up where it was like, I love it, it's perfect, but there was something that wasn't quite right. Um, and I'm glad that I listened to my intuition, especially with the one house, because I was going to put an offer and something told me not to. And then I found out the next day that my son and I would have potentially been in very real danger had we have gotten that house.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so I was really glad I listened to my intuition on that. But anyway, I've been going through my things um, because spring cleaning was kind of how it started, and you know how it lingers sometimes. It
Mm,
goes into summer, but now I'm looking at things and I'm like, I don't need this. This was old me. Or I look around at things and I'm like, I bought this when I was sad or depressed, or this was given to me um, not out of love, but out of guilt from somebody. Because I'm sure everybody has some sort of narcissist in their life where they would say something to hurt you, do something to hurt you, and then they would give you something to make you feel better.
yep.
Um, I grew up with that a lot. So a lot of the things I have are gifts that were associated with that, and I no longer want that. Um, and then so as I go through and I declutter, I've been praying over things, that way I know what to give, what to keep, but I also I love this phrase, and I want everyone to tell me what you think about this phrase, or if this has ever happened to you. The phrase, I let go of what no longer serves me. Oh my goodness. The past several times, I say it on either a full moon or a new moon. I'll say Palo, and then I say it when I've just had enough, and then I better be ready for it, because every time I say that, something happens the next day or two, and it's usually catastrophic. It's usually actually painful. Sometimes it's downright devastating, but it ends up being like a miracle. The things that come out of it, um, there was a falling out with my family, and I said I'd let go of what doesn't serve me. All of a sudden, I was guided through the financial process, and the one lady was like, you can buy a house. you have that ability. I never thought I was able to. I was always told that I'd never be able to. I was always told that I wouldn't amount to that. And then all of a sudden I'm able to have my own space, my own kingdom type of thing. Um, I was in a relationship and it didn't feel right. I said those words. It was a very catastrophic, difficult, um, and I was physically wounded in that breakup, but that was like a slingshot forward to a new type of spirituality. Um,
Well, you
and
were physically, emotionally, and spiritually wounded
I
in that
was,
breakup and in that relationship, because I
mhm.
remember that like it was yesterday, and
Yeah, that
you
was,
were in pieces.
yeah, yeah, I really was. Oh, thank you, Lynn. Um, but I also learned, and this was always a very foreign concept, especially for, um, I don't know how many know this, but I was very more Norse oriented, Norse pagan oriented. And in that faith, forgiveness is not really a concept. It was always seen as more of like a Christian concept. And I never understood forgiveness. And then somebody told me that it wasn't about, just forgetting, saying it's okay, and then forgetting about it. It was about letting go of somebody's throat, like proverbially let go of the throat. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But I don't think I could energetically detach. And then when this happened, um, and it was a catastrophic event enough to where the law enforcement had to get involved, and the court system is involved. But I was able to have the revelation of peace and love, um, and not like romantic love, just love for him as a person. I went from seeing him as somebody who hurt me, how dare you, to you are hurting, and I am sorry that you hurt, and I can see why you hurt, and you need love and care. And so I went to the judge presiding over the case, and I asked for that. I asked for clemency, and I told her that he needs love and care. He needs medical care and attention. I don't want to see him in prison. Um, and then that started a whole new sector. Um, I've got some friends, and I was talking about that in a friend group of mine, that are associated with the church that I started going to in Auburn, um, and a prison ministry started coming out of it, and then a mental health advocacy started coming out of it. So, um, out of all of that and that transformation, I've started these two like sub projects, and I'm hoping to be able to carry forward with those. But I want to see more people, um, get mental help and spiritual help, because a lot of it could have been prevented had he been able to get the help that he needed. Um,
Well, hurt people hurt people.
Right, right. And it was sad, and I can't, like I said, I can't sit there and be angry with him. And when I was able to kind of hone in on that and take care of that, I started going back to my other relationships, because my other relationships haven't worked out. And one by one I was able to forgive everyone and finally able to let go. And um and like I was really happy, and I remember feeling like it was a physical feeling in my chest when that last one clicked. And then I realized that they're all happy, they're all partnered up, all of my exes, they're all doing well, and there was a peace that came over that. um, and then I have met somebody, um, not really taken off quite yet, but we know that each other's there. We're kind of getting to know each other, but like that was a big transformation too. Like once I was able to let go of everything, it was like all of a sudden somebody was right in front of me. And yeah, so being able to let go, not just let go of yourself and your control, but let go of the hurt and every all the other stuff that does not serve you, you have to let it go. You've got to cut it. Um, and like I said, if you got to stand under the new moon or the full moon with sage or Palo Santo, go for it. Be ready for it. But it's necessary.
Well,
Um,
and there's also like a little ceremony that you can do. I forget where I got this from. I could have gotten it from Dolores Cannon, but I did
nice.
get it from somebody. And is if you want to, I think I did get it from Dolores Cannon. But if you want to cut ties off like you're doing, because all of these emotions that you have, you're attached, there are cords attached to them.
Yep. Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
what you want to do is you want to tell that person, you don't have to be in front of that person. You can sit in a meditation and you can tell that person, hey, we tried, it didn't work out. I no
Right.
longer have these attachments to you. They are now gone. Because, I mean, you can forgive somebody, but you have to get rid of those cords. You just can't keep those
Absolutely.
cords because those cords are going to bind you up, hold you down. Your chakras are going to be horrible. So you just have to get rid of those cords and
Hmm.
understand forgiveness. I mean, we're all human.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
tried,
Absolutely.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
Hey,
And,
Tater, love you. I know that you came on as Father Fitz, but
mhm.
I know who you are. That's my brother, Tater.
Oh yeah. Aw. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It has been beautiful and a big blessing for everyone. And I think if everybody stops as a collective, I'm talking to everybody, our viewers, if everybody would stop and take a look around, um, and start noticing like where were all the hurts that you've experienced, and kind of line those up and see how those people that have hurt you, how are they healing, how are they doing. um, and you don't have to rush out to help them, but give them good thoughts, good energies, acknowledge that I understand you hurt me, but you were hurting so badly too, and now I see that. And sometimes that's enough to karmically let it go. And you wish them well, and you go on.
Well, when somebody's thinking about you. I mean, we send that
Yeah.
energy. You're
Yep.
thinking about
Absolutely.
somebody, and all of a sudden they call on the phone.
Uh-huh.
Well, our thoughts are energy, and so when you're thinking about that person, I know it didn't work out, but instead of
Right.
sending maybe some vengeance or whatever, send some love. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
hey, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I love you. I honor
Right.
and respect you, because hurt people do hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And if you raise your vibration, um, in you and around you, then it's going to carry through. It's like that ripple effect through the universe.
yes,
Um, and then when you do that with vibrations, the stronger you make it, the stronger it stays. And it's kind of like that space continuum. When it starts moving, it doesn't stop. It doesn't waver. That energy does not have gravity, so it's going to keep going. So whatever you put out there
is
goes at
coming
that
right
same
back
velocity.
to you.
Yep, and it will come back to you, absolutely.
Yep.
Um, so I've been doing different exercises, different different things, different routines to try and raise my vibration. I'm somebody that's very very routine oriented. Like I've done the exact same set thing in the mornings for years, and then I decided I wanted to implement a couple changes. I do morning yoga, um, and that's helped. And it's like a 10-minute routine before I do anything. And then I noticed too, um, I started listening to like chakra meditation and manifestation, upbeat manifestation music. I have a really good playlist on Spotify, And I noticed that when I started raising my vibration in the morning and putting myself in that amped up good mood,
Mhm.
my whole day is different. And my bosses at work have noticed. Um, and I love my job. I love being there. But like now that I started pumping things up, I love it even more. The people around me have been happier. My son's been happier. So and I started kind of thinking about that, and I'm a lover of all things metal, and I love Motionless in White in this moment. Um, but I took a step back and I'm like, these guys are a low vibration. Yeah, I love their music, I love their songs, their voices, but um, I always felt angry. And there was one song by In This Moment, and the first words out of her mouth in that is "I hate you," and and for a long time I listened to it and like I would feel my whole body would tense up and I'd start tearing up because it just brought that out, and so I put all that stuff on the back burner for now, all that different type of music, and I'm listening to my manifestation music, and then at night I do the hypnosis
Mhm.
uh, soundtracks, and I do like subliminal messaging, and that's been a game changer. Especially if you find like the billionaire brainwave type of um, playlists and stuff, because that really does work. That has changed my whole life just within a matter of a month and a half. But your music, the things that you listen to, even subliminally, um, that is food for your soul. That is food for your mentality. And if you're eating poison or if you're taking in poison, you are going to be poisoned. So I noticed that I was poisoning myself by listening to things. Um, and I used to love horror movies, and a few weeks ago I sat down and I was like, oh, I think I want to watch that. And I got into like 2 minutes of it, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not that person anymore. Um, so I went from that lower vibration to now I'm ready to step up, and every time I do that, every time I make a change, um, and I feel like I'm on the right path, I get in my head I can hear there's like three different voices that always says, there she is. And that's what I know. That's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing is when I hear that, oh, there she is. So, so I look for that. And, I really try to, make sure that everything is positive, and I'm not saying that your life is going to be 100% hunky dory all the time. You're going to have bad days. Um, trust me, I will sit there and roll my eyes and have my declarations of frustrations every so often, um, especially with computers. I'm terrible with technology, but the point is, it's not all going to be sunshine and roses. But when you have a higher vibration, you have a different outlook on things, and what used to send you over the edge will send you on a mission to go do something else while the other thing is getting fixed, or you'll see different opportunities,
Mhm.
just to go do different tasks for a while to get your mind off of it, and you're happier, and then everybody around you is happier.
Well, for me, I have gotten into the practice, even if it's only 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever time that I have in the morning, I sit down and I do my morning meditations. I do my shields.
Hmm.
I think it's so important to shield when we're going out into the public because there
Agreed.
is so much coming at you in the public. So I do a lot of my shields. I send love, to my children, to my family, to my place of work. I send love out
Hmm.
always, and I like one of the things that I do is like I send love to my place of work, and anybody
Hmm.
who steps on that property
Yeah.
receives love. and I send love to the children of the universe, and I
Mhm.
send love to the animals. And
Mhm.
I feel like, it is what you put out there is what you're going to get back. And
Yep.
so I raise my vibration, and love is the highest vibration
It
that
is.
I know. And so I am constantly, by the time I get up, until the time I get into my vehicle and go to work, I am in the love vibration.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's been a whole um thing that I've been trying to get into the habit of, because it's very easy, especially for somebody. I'm going to bring in my psychology degree here for a minute. Um, for somebody who has lived in survival mode, anybody who's been in abusive relationships, especially relationship with a narcissistic person, if you have lived in stressful situations for long enough, your brain gets addicted to the cortisol that
Yeah.
your body produces in the response to those stressful situations.
And
So the
constant
longer,
flight or fight is
yeah,
not
yeah,
good for your body.
right. So you become addicted to that cortisol and that the epinephrine, that you produce, and that ends up canceling out the serotonin and dopamine, those happy hormones, or the happy chemicals in your brain. And so you literally have to go through and consciously make new neural pathways
Hmm.
to re-implement serotonin and dopamine and weed out the cortisol. And I catch myself doing that. I've been in a lot of different bad relationships, and the way I grew up was you know one of my parents was emotionally unavailable, and then there were narcissists in my family. So I grew up every day in that, am I going to make them mad? Am I going to be okay? Am I safe? Can I say this? It was a very eggshell type of thing. Um, so I catch myself slipping into that. Um, and when you do that, and every once in a while, it's like I'll catch myself, and it's almost like I have the flashbacks, and they sit there and they torture me. Like I'm torturing myself. And my brain is getting a pleasure from it while my emotions and my chakras are freaking out. Um, but acknowledging is that first step to any addiction, even if it's an addiction in your brain that you didn't mean to put there. Um, so I'm re-implementing practices like yoga, changing my music, doing mindful meditations, just like you do. I do daily chakra cleansings and aligning. I do the same for my son. I even do the same for my dog. I cleanse and align his chakra, because the animals, they absorb, and they try to give, and sometimes they give to until they're depleted too.
Yeah.
Um, but that is starting to retrain my brain, and I can feel that, and I can see it. Um, and I have had help. I have a really good village, um, especially with you, Raven. Like you've done amazing with me, and I appreciate everything that you do, and you've been my mentor through this as well.
Aw, that's so
You really
sweet.
have. You I love you too. But you've shown me a lot of different ways of healing, how to connect with guides and archangels, a whole new spirituality, um, and so now that it's like those Legos clicking together all the way down. Um, but it's retraining my brain, and now I'm starting to seek, that God light feeling, that love. I'm seeking that, how I feel when I hear the manifestation music, and um, those are the feelings that I'm actually now actively seeking, instead of, you know, oh, do you remember this? This is how it hurt you, and this is how you felt, and then sitting in that cortisol in my brain. I'm not doing that anymore. Um, every so often that the flashbacks will try, but now that you've shown me techniques, um, on how to like shield and clear things, and then going forward, it's life changing, completely life changing.
Yeah, I energize my chakras every day. I
Yeah,
activate them, not energize them.
right.
I really appreciate what you said, and I feel like you have contributed in my life in so many different ways too. I mean, I feel like we complement each other.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I know that your background is the Norse,
Hmm.
and my background, I come from a family who we had medicine, and it was passed
Mm,
from mother to granddaughter, and I
right.
worked under different medicine men and learned, and you have had an extensive background as well.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah,
Um,
my early years, I grew up Methodist. My dad's side of the family was Southern Baptist, very strict Southern Baptist, and my mom's side of the family was originally Catholic. And then they met in the middle and became Methodist, and that's how I grew up. And then when I was 16, I found Wicca and paganism, and then I kind of went over that way, and then I found the Norse path, and I've been on that for a long time. But now, um, and thanks to you, I found the Essenic path. And I've really been studying the Essenic path. They were the people that helped to teach Jesus his healing modalities and his ways of doing things. They were very peaceful people. Their diet was even like very simple and peaceful. Basically, it's like a paleo semi-vegetarian. They would eat like maybe fish every so often, but that was the only meat. Um, and so like I'm cleansing my body with that, and I'm cleansing my soul with their peace practices and things like that. And it's been absolutely life changing. And then starting I started reading about them and listening to Dolores Cannon's book about them. um, and then I started pulling things from like Kabbalah and the Jewish mysticism, the Book of Enoch, and all the angelic magic, and it's just one door after another. Um, and I cannot believe how different my life has been since I've switched over to that. Um, and a lot of people are afraid of changing paths, especially when they grow up hearing that this is the only way, this is one way. You got to pick with something and stick with it. Um, when I started learning about these new paths, I had I meditated, and I went to Odin, and he and we talked, and he told me, he said, you need to do this, you need to go. And he said that he would be there, if I would need him. But Odin is the wanderer. He is the god of wisdom, and he would be the god to tell you, you need to stop and you need to go get educated, and then come back and tell me. Um, because I don't, gods don't, they don't hate other gods. They're all a part of the same system. They're all a part of the same council. They're just all spread out. Um,
I was kind of taught that um, it's it's kind of like if you believe in angels and then this other person believes in the goddess,
mhm.
and the goddess and the angels, they're all the same thing. They're just
Yeah,
different to each person.
right,
You
right.
know,
And when you start studying all that, and you have to keep an open mind, you'll start noticing synchronicities.
yeah,
There's angels, and then there's Anunnaki, and then there's Valkyrie, and then there's so everybody's got winged creatures. Everybody's got the trickster. Everybody has the premium head god, and then all the different. But
it's all the
I
same thing. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
whatever culture that you believe in. Well,
right.
that's where it came from. I mean,
Mhm.
I believe in the Divine Mother and Divine Father, and I
Yep.
believe in Source. And
Yep.
somebody else would call that Mary and Jesus and God,
Mhm.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Or somebody else would call it Buddha, and somebody
Mhm.
else would call it Odin and Freya,
Right, right.
all the same thing. It's
Yeah.
just depends on your culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes down to it, the very base lesson that they all teach is love.
Love.
Love one another, love yourself. Um, just work, try and love and heal, and things will be well. Unfortunately, a lot of the messages do get misconstrued from
Mhm,
every text, not just a certain one, but from every religion, especially a lot of the ones that were orally, um, that
mhm,
they were the oral traditions, and then their stories would be wrote down 200 years later plus.
mhm.
Things are going to get lost. So, if anything, if we took anything from any of the religions or spiritualities, it should be that love is the law, plain
Yes.
and simple. And if you can love, then everything else will click into place. And I've found that out like the hard way. The more you have that love vibration, the more things click into place, and then the more you can let go, and then things click into place more. It's a whole chain reaction, and you've noticed it too, especially within the last couple months. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've noticed a huge change in you too.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, there was a lot of stress and a lot of heartache and stuff like that, but you've got a whole different vibe. And
Thank you.
it's stronger and it's radiant. And you've always have that purple and white aura, and that it's bigger and it's brighter, and I
Yeah.
love it. I love it when I look at you, I'm like, man, she's glowing.
Well,
It's so
Tim and
beautiful.
I, we look at each other from time to time, and when things happen, and we look at each other and go, love and light, love and light,
Exactly. There
'cause,
you go.
we can't change those things. And what is that? The serenity prayer,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
we
100%. And
can't change those things. And if you can't change it, you can't do anything about it. Send it some
right.
love and move on.
Exactly. You got to acknowledge it. You don't want to say, well, it is what it is. Um,
Hmm.
because that doesn't really give it anything. It just makes it sit there, sit in the mud. But when you, like you said, you give it that love and light, it gives it a nudge, it gives it a bump, and then
Yeah.
something might come from it. Um, but yeah, yeah, absolutely. You've got to be able to put that out there.
Yeah,
Um,
and I can't say enough that, like, since this whole, I mean, every part of my life since the fire, my
mhm,
vehicle broke down. I had to get a new vehicle. So everything's been in a transformation. And the best thing that I have done for myself is to surrender.
yeah.
Allow the divine to do the divine's job in my life,
Mhm.
and let my ego get out of the way of
Right.
divine.
Right. That's and that is hard. That is a really hard lesson.
Archangel Michael has been working with me with
Mhm.
is helping me to get my ego out of the way, because that's a really hard thing to do.
It is. It is, especially when you've had to live, and I know you've had to live a lot of your life like this, but when you've had to live your life, in the driver's seat, you've had to be assertive. You've had to be the decision maker, and that alpha woman in your life. Uh, especially like we were single moms for a while. I'm still a single mom, so like
Mhm.
a lot of times my day to day is okay. This has to be structured. This is regimented. Like I almost have to run my day like a military oriented schedule. So when you live like that, it becomes habit to not let go of control, because if you do, then your schedule's messed up, the budget's messed up, everybody's emotions are messed up because now your emotions are messed up because you're stressed.
Yes.
Um, but once you start letting go and starting to get with that vibe, um, And you find, I recommend checking out different playlists, checking out different like hertz frequencies, and you find the vibe that really resonates you, because and you'll feel it. You'll feel like you're floating or something in water, just and real peaceful. So that's your frequency. Um, and once you find that, just go with that. Let that be your daily. Anytime you get stressed, yeah, try and remember what that vibe is, what that frequency sounds like, um, and you'll feel better. But it's like a meditation that you don't actually have to sit and quiet your mind for. So like women like us who are busy, that we have to be on the go all the time. If we could flip something like that on our phones and listen to it while we're working, it's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
So
It really is. And
yeah.
to get out of your head.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
That's
Um,
hard to do, but getting out of your head and
uh-huh.
not judging and,
Right. Right.
again, pushing the ego to the side. But
Uh-huh.
Michael, I know we're working on it.
Right. Right. And you can be your own worst enemy when
Yeah.
it comes to that, because you're your harshest critic. You're the first one that will put you down before anybody else. Um, and I found that to be difficult to get out of that habit as well.
And
Um,
I think that's part of the programming that
yeah.
is given to us
Yeah.
as humans to keep us at that low vibration, because
Yeah.
that is a low vibration. And we should give ourselves confidence
Yeah.
and we should boost ourselves up.
Mhm.
We treat ourselves so badly. If you were a friend, you would never, if that friend would never be there.
Right, right. Well, you caught me at the beginning of the show, right before we logged on. Um, I had said something, and you were like, "No, don't put that out there." And I was like, "That's right." Sometimes you got to have your friends or your village people.
Mhm.
If you're all on board, remind each other, "Hey, be nice to yourself." Make it say something to yourself that'll make you smile. That makes you vibe higher. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
because
every
that's
thought, every word, that's a
yeah.
manifestation.
It absolutely is. And, if you can't be kind to yourself, then, you might be kind to others, but is it really genuine? Because if you can't vibrate with that love for yourself, how are you going to send that out to anybody? And
Right.
I'm learning that. It's been a whole process. And, that's something that, we as humans may never be perfect in. But, I always say the secret is to start,
Mm.
and I chose to start. I chose to move forward and do something different. It was time for me to step up, uh, take a big step up of from where I was, because it wasn't serving me. It was a low vibration. I was always wounding myself, and therefore I was attracting people who were wounding me on top of it. And now it's completely different. It's like when you choose a side, between light and dark. Yeah, it's not just being the villain or the hero, but it's about what's inside you too. You have to choose the light to illuminate you, or illuminate yourself. That way you can light other people's candles too.
Mhm.
uh, but when you stay in the dark, there is no light to give,
No.
and it's
And if
miserable.
you
And
love yourself, you can't love anybody else. And I know
right.
that people hear that all the time and they go,
Mhm.
yeah, but if you really think about it, I mean, if you can't love yourself, how can you
Mhm.
love somebody else? Because do you not know how?
Right. And a lot of people don't. Because I always heard that and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I love myself. I'm me. Um, but I think if there's, when you're able to kind of ignite somebody's heart chakra, and give them that sacred fire, just that little taste, that little spark of that sacred fire, it changes everything. and whenever I think about myself, I see that fire in my heart chakra. I carry the sacred heart fire, the sacred flame. Um, and when I see somebody who's having, that they're not, they're not themselves, they're off, they're down, things like that. One of my things is to visualize, taking from my fire and giving it to them.
Yes.
And it works. It really does work.
Yes.
Because that's, it's not just that love vibration thought. I am physically, actively taking from that and giving it to them, because, and you can do that. It's not going to dim your flame to light somebody else's,
And
especially if they're fire.
you don't even have to say a word to that person.
Nope. Nope, you
It
don't.
could be somebody that you're just passing by on the street, and you just take a little bit of your heart flame and you
Yep.
send it to them with some love.
Yeah.
Look,
Yep.
I've got angel bumps.
I know. I do too.
Michael.
When that happens, when I see somebody walk by and I feel that energy, I actually, like, I'll take, my hands in, and I'll do like hand motions, and I'll physically scoop it from my chest and send it to them. And usually the next time they pass by my desk or something, if I'm at work, the mood is different.
Yeah.
Things get lighter. I do the same thing. I'm doing the same thing right now with my current situation here at home, my current living situation. Yeah, I try to keep things as light as possible. Um, and sometimes it's, easier said than done, but it's getting better. I try to keep that fire stoked all over the place. And my son has really picked up in his radiation too, since I've been doing that. And when he sleeps at night, I really do a lot of like the mother love prayers and things like that, because there is definitely no greater love than a mother and son's love.
Mhm.
And when you can sit there next to them while they sleep and everything, that really builds a big fire. And then your kids carry it with them,
Mhm.
and you carry it with them. You recharge each other, and that's been a beautiful thing, and that's really driven our connection deeper. And he's none the wiser, because usually he's sleeping, and I have to do it when he's sleeping, because he's ADHD and he's squirrely. So when he's sleeping and he's peaceful, um, I'm able to do that, and it keeps his chakras aligned, and mine are aligned, and we're in sync with each other, um, to the point where we're almost psychically linked. Like he'll think something and I say it, or vice versa. I'll think something and he says it. Um, then you can do that. You can do that with anybody that you're with. You can do that with your partners. You can do that with your best friend. Because when your vibrations, your energies align like that, you become linked. And that's another practice that I recommend everybody try this year with transformation. Find a spiritual niche. Find those practices, something that will uplift you.
And something
And
that gives you peace.
Yeah, yeah. Don't ever settle for something that takes away your peace. Um, and I decided to do that this year. It was either, I could sit in a secure financial situation, or I could do something that might be iffy with it, but I'd have peace. And I chose peace. And at first there was some stress, and then I let go, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, everything's good, everything's going. So um but yeah, I'm just gonna let things ride like that. And just trust the process. Absolutely. Like, if anything, um if I would say anything, it's just trust the source, trust the process. And just put love out there, if anything, and then things will work. Things will work out. It's going to be the year of transformation and manifestation, um, and I really do believe that it's going to be that uplifting year for everyone. I have a feeling that things are going to change for everyone in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, even if it's hard, like I said, sometimes those changes can be devastating, but what's going to come out of it is neat.
And speaking of love and appreciation,
Hmm.
we love each and every one of you. We are so thankful for our viewers.
Yes.
Um, Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We
Yes.
appreciate that too.
Yeah. And thank you for interacting with us tonight. I love to see what other people think. Um, you guys listen to us all the time. So we like to hear from you. We want to know what you want to see, what you want to hear about,
Yeah,
and then your thoughts too, because yeah, everything we learn. That's the part of being spiritual people. It's a lifelong path of learning. So we absolutely want to learn from you as well.
yeah.
So thank you guys for chiming in tonight. See, it looks like your brother read the Celestian prophecy.
Prophecy. I
Okay,
I've read that. I loved it. It was so
okay,
good.
I'll have to find it. Yeah, so far everything that you've recommended me to read this year has been life altering. And so like all of my audiobooks, I have a whole library of audiobooks. It's all Dolores Cannon and so far some,
I love
like that.
Dolores
And
Cannon. She's amazing. But
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I think that I read the Celestine prophecy right before Father Fitz came into my life. So yeah, um,
I will look that up. I'll
taught
look
me
that book
so
up.
much. That it really is a good book.
Okay.
It's something that I think that I recommended that Tim read too, but
Okay.
I think that it's always a good read again book. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Yep.
some
Absolutely.
books you read again and you find things that you haven't
Right.
that you didn't
Right.
get the first time. You know?
Yeah. Especially when it's a really good book and
Yeah.
there's a lot of information you're trying to absorb it. There's always going to be something that gets left out because you're busy absorbing something else. So yeah, a book like that definitely is something to
I think
reread.
I also think that the Celestine prophecy has a lot to do with quantum physics as well.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I will look it up.
like quantum physics and everything is coming into light too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
we as people are trying to come out of the matrix.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that Jessamy and I have tried to do with our show is to try to pull out of the matrix.
Mhm.
Some of the ideas and principles that are holding you down in these very low energies that they want you to be asleep. They don't want you to hear the truth that's going on. But there's so much going on out there that you don't realize.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
there's a whole nother worlds, it's infinite, but
And the biggest way to be able to start getting out of that like muddy mindset,
yeah.
um, detox from social media, get off Facebook, get off Instagram. Like, and I don't say
We're
completely.
live on Facebook.
Right, right, but like I'm saying not completely because that's how I talk to most of my people.
Yeah,
But like don't sit there and doom scroll for hours. Don't go down the TikTok bunny trail and watch videos for hours, like I like to do.
yeah,
But they're funny, I know. But the point is you need to unplug, step away from the TV, your phone. You need to. It does take a full detox because that is another addiction.
yeah.
But the things that are fed in those algorithms are poison. They're poison, and those are meant to keep us on a low vibration, and they do it on purpose. And even things in like children's Disney movies have those subliminal messages that cause low vibrations. And so I started kind of weaning myself and my son off of electronics, and there's been a big difference. And because once you get back to like that natural state of mind, you're focusing on things out in nature or just your surroundings in general. Um, you start noticing, well, your synchronicities too. You notice those, um, but you notice other little things that allow you to kind of quantum jump into different uh, things, different vibrations, and
No doubt.
you ride those wavelengths. Um, But
Lauren
yeah,
says, Lauren says the Sophia Code is another great book that connects the reader with the divine feminine,
ooh,
Christ, dragon energy. It's a good one for the year of the dragon. Awesome.
that
Thank
would
you,
be good.
Lauren.
Yes.
I want to have Lauren on the show again. I think she's an awesome lady. I love her.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I think so too. I think a lot of the people that have wanted to be on the show that we've had a lot of people reach out, or I've had a lot of people reach out. I'm sure you have too. Um, and I love your people, Donnie. You're Raven. You have the people that you associate with and you bring forward. They're so phenomenal, and I get like starry eyed when I
Aw.
meet them. Like with Lauren, with Cinnamon Moon, it just fascinating people, different modalities. And it's such a blessing to be able to see all of that too. Um,
Now, Father
but
um, Tater says he signed a copy and gave it to me years ago, included a quote from another great book he gave me, Robert. Is it Henlon's Stranger in a Strange Land? Some reason that sounds familiar.
wow,
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Oh, I guess
interesting.
he is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Awesome.
So I'm like making a mental book list. And yeah, that's really cool. And what's funny, this just came to mind back in November. My birthday is November 1st. And I was reading my star chart right after my birthday. Um, and because like every year, the app that I have, every year you get like the new readings and whatnot. But it had said that my life would be changed by books, especially one particular book. Um, and then after I read that, I was like, well, I got to thinking, I have ADHD terribly, and I can't sit and read. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sit and read a book that would change my life. And then not even like 3 weeks later, you sent me an audiobook.
Yeah.
And that changed my life. It was Jesus in the Essenes by Dolores Cannon. And then
Mhm.
you sent me a bunch of her other books on audio. And so, yes, it was absolutely correct. The books are transforming my life. So I'm gonna get a copy of these books, what Tater recommended, and then the Sophia Code that Lauren recommended. Um,
So looks like Tater, are you recommending another book? I Grok? I wonder. So talk about phenomenal guests. I mean,
mhm.
you have some phenomenal friends too that are fixing to come on to the show.
Yep, yep.
And we had our voodoo. I was starstruck with her.
Oh, Lilith Dorsey.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
love her
was
so much.
starstruck
She's
with
so
her. I
cool.
love her. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad she came on the show before I saw her on a documentary. And I was like,
Yep.
oh my God, we had her on
Yeah.
our show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. She is the coolest lady. I've known her for a few years, and I really like her. She's very knowledgeable, very wise.
she's
Um,
beautiful
oh, she is.
inside and out. She is. I love her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and that's another thing too is, you got to surround yourself with a village that radiates love and light, and that will help you when you stumble and vice versa.
Yeah.
That is everything. If you surround yourself with wise people, you will become wise yourself.
Yes.
And I've been, really working on that. I mean,
On
I have
my
a I'm sorry?
on my Facebook profile picture is a rock, and it says something to the fact that the words we speak are the house we live in.
Yep. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So I've really, I've always had good friends, um, but the past few months, there's been my collective. few women that have really kind of helped me gather myself, especially when everything kind of fell apart. You were the first one on scene when all that happened. Um, and I cannot be, and ironically, um, all the women in the, in my circle, like it's that we all kind of interconnect. Um, and but yeah, that will change your life too. You've just, if you want a better life and a cleaner life, you've got to put forth that effort to, you got to be around that kind of people. You
Mhm.
got to eat that kind of food. You got to listen to that kind of music.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but yeah,
Tater says, it's a famous quote from Stranger in a Strange Land. I grok, roughly translated, is to have thorough understanding.
nice,
I like that.
nice.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm going to use that. I grok.
I grok, I grok. I like that.
I
It's got
do
a nice ring
too.
to it too.
Sounds
But
kind of Vikingish too.
it does, it does.
I grok.
I grok,
Skull.
right? Almost,
Skull.
I am Groot. So pull
Yeah,
that in too. I am Groot. I grok.
I grok.
Maybe they're cousins.
Hey, they could
But
be.
yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what this year has in store, especially for our show. We do have some people that are requesting to be on the show. I'm not sure how many of our viewers know it, but I'm a paranormal investigator about to launch a semi-professional team. And I've got a lot of other paranormal investigators and team leaders that want to come on the show and talk with us. And um, a lot of those shows will be, will have the underlying, like the theme of making sure you protect yourself, psychic protection. That is our number one thing when we go out and do any sort of investigation, is psychic protection. So I have a feeling that that's going to be a big need for this year anyway. With
Mm,
the year of transformation, it's the year of the dragon. Those energies are going to be hardcore. They're going to be fast and hard. So having the shields up and the psychic protection
mhm.
is going to be everything. I was in Murfreesboro, Tennessee last weekend. We went on a ghost tour, my friend Amy and I. She's like my business partner with Mystic Moon Paranormal. Um, and there was a creature that, and it was a literal drive-by. There were two people in this van that drove by this little tour group that we were in, but there was something around the man in the passenger seat, and it looked like a wraith. And when it passed me, it turned and hung out the window, and I felt something hit my chest. And then the girl that was standing next to me, um, I felt it too. She felt something hit her chest, and I knew that it was a literal drive-by attack. Um, and we're in the middle of Civil War Central down there, so there's a lot of spirit activity. Murfreesboro was a very, very active city, um, but I had that bubble around me, my protection, and I also envision myself in armor. Some people want to call it the armor of God type of thing. And then when I have that on, when I have my bubble around me and I have those shields, if you're standing close enough to me, you will have it too. Because I try to, radiate as far out as I can. As long as everything stays strong. And she luckily was in that bubble, and we both got hit in the chest. Um, and what it was like when I got home the next morning, and I went to do like sacral, or I'm sorry, not sacral, chakral healing, just to make sure everything was aligned. Um, I didn't feel like I was penetrated, but I felt like I was bruised in that heart chakra area. And what had happened was that um, the armor that I had, and the shield, acted like a bulletproof vest. You're gonna, when you get hit, you feel it. You feel that impact, but it doesn't do damage. It might
Just
bruise you a little bit.
penetrate. Yeah.
doesn't penetrate. And, you know, I cannot stress enough how, how important that is going to be this year. There's going to be a lot of different spirit type activity from the different dimensions because we are ascending in dimensions.
Mhm.
A lot of portals are opening up. We've got, you know, the
Well, the
conflicts.
veils are actually thinning too.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And
Lynn
then
says that I need to send you to our hometown because Lynn and I always discuss. I mean, there were so many things that happened. I mean, our neighborhood, I think, was on a burial site, I swear.
oh, wow.
I mean, like Lynn was in bed one night and she had her games in the closet, and her games were sliding across the ceiling and then dropping on the floor. And we have had so many experiences. It's
Yeah.
Rhode Island, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
If
uh,
it can be haunted, it is haunted, right? You know,
yeah,
kind of like
Rhode
in
Island, yeah,
Massachusetts. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
Massachusetts,
When I
too.
went to Massachusetts, everybody was like, if it's a building, it's haunted out
Yeah,
here. Just trust us at this point.
yes.
Um, yeah.
But
And
there's
then like
a lot
the
of
reality
what
sign.
is going to be out into the universe now. The veils are lifting. There's a lot of
Yeah.
portals opening.
Yeah.
This is the year of the dragon, and it's a wood dragon, and it actually
Uh-huh.
starts tomorrow.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it, I mean, it's intense. It really is
Yeah.
intense. Put your shields up, but
Hmm.
also go with the flow because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
transformations are tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are.
And you've got to remember to, you know, as you put your shields up, you've got to, you know, radiate that love and light too. Cause you know, the love and light vibration will act as another shield. The best defense and it's also the best offense.
Yes, it is.
Um, so like when you learn how to shield yourself for protection and then use that extra shield for love and light, like, yeah, it's awesome. And then you can practice that every day through, you know, 5-minute meditations.
Mhm.
It's not a hard habit to get into. It's just it could be more difficult to start to be mindful of it, but you know, once you start it, you know, like I said earlier, once you feel how that vibration makes you feel, you almost become addicted to that. And then you become addicted to that love light energy, and then you just radiate it naturally after a while.
Well, and one thing that I had to get used to in my meditations is sending myself love.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I send love to the children of the universe. I send love
Yeah.
to my children. I send love to my husband. You know, I send love everywhere that I can. And I also do not forget to send love to myself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That is
Um,
the strongest vibration. And the negative, the entities, whatever it is that's out there, can't penetrate that
right.
vibration.
Right. Um, and also in my research about like the year of the dragon, it was very, very clear, um, with the dragon years, especially the wood dragon, like this year, do
Mhm.
not neglect your health. Make sure you stay in tip top shape, eat well, exercise. If you if you think you should go to the doctor for something, go. Like without question, just go. Because it's one of those years where the vibrations could mess with your body systems. Make sure you see regular routine people like your chiropractor, massage therapist, your Reiki practitioners like Raven and myself. You know, just saying. Um,
Put it
but
out there.
you know, make sure you make a routine of self-maintenance, self-love, because that is a way that you can love yourself, is to take care of yourself. And it's very easy to just be like, I'll be fine, you know, I'll get better, whatever. Sometimes you don't. And especially, you know, in a year like this, um, your mental health and emotional health is going to be a big thing this year too. I have a feeling that there's going to be a big tipping point when it comes to that. um, and make sure that, you know, you have to work on your shadow side too. um, that's the scary one. Your shadow side, uh, your inner child. I just started working on my inner child because my inner child is so wounded. And when I do a lot of my chakra alignments and healing, I talk to her. And I let her know that, you are safe. It will get better. It's gonna get worse before it gets better, but you're gonna be okay. This is what you grow into. Um, you don't need external validation because you are whole as you are. So I'm feeding my inner child with those affirmations that I needed so desperately when I was so little. Um, and I
Doing
on that
this.
subconscious. I'm sorry.
I've been doing kind of the same thing. I have
Mhm.
been working with my inner child as well.
Yeah.
And I have been using the fires of the archangels.
Yep.
Say like I go back and my inner child is reliving a memory or whatever, I will use Archangel Michael's fire to rain down and rain down and rain down into that
Mhm.
sapphire and
Yep.
cleanse that inner child, and then, you know, send some love to that inner child and transform that experience into something much better for my inner child. So I've been
Right.
doing a lot of work on my inner child as well. And I think this may be the year for it too.
Yep. Absolutely. It's that inner transformation. And your inner child, that's your foundation. Um, it's if you don't help your inner child, then you have a wound that you carry around, even if you don't know, um, even if you don't know where it's at. So Lauren said, and sorry, I posted my reply before I posted hers. She has two baby teeth in her mouth that has to come out this year. And she keeps getting the message like she can't ignore it. And that's absolute. Like, if there's something that needs to be done, it's the year to do it, because it will turn into something worse. And it could turn into something negative. Like, that's the whole big year, or big message of the year of the dragon, is get it done, take care of it. You don't have to be aggressive, but be assertive. And then I said, this was the message that kind of popped into my head, is that, when you clear that out, if you when you have worked on your mouth, it opens up like that throat chakra. um and you might be able to get messages out that are being held back.
Mm.
You might be able to speak truths that you didn't know you had.
That's what I
um
was kind of thinking too,
Yep,
along
yep,
those
especially
lines.
if they're retained baby teeth.
Yeah,
Then, and you might have inner child work to do as well. If you're retaining baby teeth, then maybe your inner child needs to say something, and to do that, you have to get those teeth out, for um,
to
that
happen.
issue to come forward, and then that healing to manifest. So absolutely, it's time to get that done. Um, I know there's a lot of things that are on the agenda for my healthcare and stuff, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to do it, but I have to, um, because it just makes you healthy, and getting back in the gym routine. How everybody is with that, and I love going to the gym. It's just, sometimes I don't want to, but this is the year where you can't, you can't skimp on your healthcare. It's
Nope.
it's really important, because we are going to be needed as a collective, and we're going to have to be able to, um, be well in mind, body, and spirit.
Mhm.
This is the year for wellness and preparation.
This is
So
a year that we need to stand strong.
very much so, very
Because
much so.
from what I understand, 2016 is going to be the year that a lot of things are just going to come into fruition and light that we never thought would
You said you
happen.
said 2016,
Yeah,
2016.
yeah,
So
2026. I'm sorry.
2026. I was like, oh no, we're going
16 it
backwards.
already went by.
Right, right.
No,
Um,
no, 2026. I'm sorry. But yeah, a lot of things are going to be revealed. You won't even recognize humanity in
Right.
2026.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We are on this is the year of transformation. We
mhm,
are on the brink of change.
yeah.
Transformation is growth and healing. And then you have change, which is your complete upheaval, your 180, or completely off the path that you were on. And we are being prepared for that. I've been feeling
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
That especially I keep saying, and especially since I started with the Middle Eastern type of things that I've been reading with like Jesus and the Essenes, there are portals, the seals in Israel that are always talked about in the temples. Those are portals. The conflicts that are happening right now are cracking those portals.
Mhm.
Some of them have been broken. We have seen a couple rounds of them already. Um,
We're also
and
going to see a lot that's been hidden in the basement of the Vatican.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. A lot of truths are going to come out.
Right.
Truths that are going to cause rifts too. Some of the truths are going to be wonderful and enlightening. Some are not. And it's going to, so it's going to be that 2026 is going to be the year of change. But now is the time where we start,
Yep, you're right.
yes, aliens. Absolutely.
Peter,
The
you're
ground.
right about that one.
Yep. But yeah, so we have to start um getting ready. Start transforming, start growing. Your kitties keep walking around in the background and they
I
keep
know.
catching my eye. Sorry.
It's Boo
Um,
Kitty.
but
But yes, Tater, but
yeah,
they've been with us. It's just that they
yeah,
may be revealed.
yeah, and start finding your books. Start you reading your self help books. Start reading the spiritual books. The more open your mind can be, the better, because not only will you be able to um, adapt to the changes that are coming, but you'll be able to help the collective. And that's what we're essentially here for anyway. We are here to help the collective. We're here to heal and to lead and to guide. um,
And to
and
awaken the collective. But
yep,
yes,
yep,
Tater, I believe you are correct in that statement.
100%,
Yep.
100%.
Been
um,
here forever.
mhm. And I think that this year is the year for the healers and the star seeds and
Mhm.
um the transplants, if you will. uh that like we all are all of us spiritual people, we're all coming together. um and this year is going to be like a huge family reunion, I
Mhm.
feel like, because it's time to gear up for the big meeting. I was listening up to a podcast about the modern Essenes, and how there's been a collective shift, and everybody is noticing that um, from like out of nowhere, random places, they're remembering practices like this, and we're able to start finding each other out of nowhere. It's because the star families, the star seeds and the celestials in us are being called to each other, and so we're finding each other.
We're
um,
finding our soul family, our
yeah,
soul
yeah,
family, our star family.
mhm,
It's not necessarily our blood family, um,
yep,
but we
exactly.
all have a soul family and
Yep.
star family.
And they noticed an uptick in this shift back in September. And if you remember, one of our first meetings at the coffee house in the group here in Fort Wayne, I kept saying, like, something's coming. And it almost drove me crazy because I got almost anxious because I knew something was coming. And here, that's when the shift started, that all of us, in our soul family, we started seeking each other. Um, and they said between September and then between September, the fall equinox, and the summer solstice is going to be the time of finding each other, and then after that is the time of like connection and planning and moving forward. So there's going to be a lot more of us.
I remember saying at the solstice party at our house
Yeah, yeah,
that
right
I
after
felt
that.
it coming, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So like you and I were both on the same wavelength
Yeah,
that we knew something's about to shift. And then here it's our soul family that's coming together all over the world, all over the universe. Um,
and we have
and like I
each
said,
other's back too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's all love light. Like
Mhm.
when we see each other, it's you're just you're happy to see them, even that you don't know them physically. You don't know them from Adam. But you recognize them. Your soul
Yes,
recognizes them.
yes,
Um, and yeah, and so that's gonna start changing the world because it's gonna get more prevalent here within the next several months, and then that's when things are gonna team up and change.
yeah,
And so the next couple of years are going to be really interesting.
yeah. In
um
2026, a lot of things are going to come to fruition. It's
yeah,
going to be a totally different world than what you see right now
yeah,
today.
yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a year of manifestations coming true. um and a lot of eyes are going to be opened. uh and then the next 2 years afterwards is going to be results of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm curious, I'm
Going through
interested.
a mass awakening right now.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. So
And
it's
we're not alone, and we are being helped, you
yeah.
know. So
Yep, and we just have to be able to disconnect from the current world to be able to see that and to
from the
see the signs
matrix
and
and from what
synchronicities.
they want you to believe.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. Because everybody has a team. We have our guides, our ancestors, our angels.
Hmm.
Um, take the time to make those connections. Take the time to
Yes.
put your while you're meditating, put your feelers out. The angels will make themselves known. They will tell you
Yes.
who is with you.
Yeah.
um yeah, they are not shy. Angels are not shy. I promise you they are not. I always thought that they would be like the silent watchers. Oh no, the past couple months I've been put in my place. I have been educated, um but I have never been more loved than when I've connected. Jeremiel is my main angel. He's we have a very special bond. Um, there have been times where he's like, "You need to stop and you need to listen," and this is what's what. And then there's times where he's just like, "You just need to know love today. That's all." And and it's been amazing. And I wear Saint Michael on my necklace. I have a Saint Michael charm because of what I do with the paranormal and everything. He is the angel that defends you in battle. And I was wearing my necklace under my spiritual armor when I got hit in the chest, and I feel like that was one of the things that really helped um, to stop that. So
My
if I
archangel medallion is being cleaned from the fire right now.
yep, yep. So, but it's cleansing. Sometimes, as even smoke can be cleansing. I mean, you know, we cleanse ourselves in sage and palo smoke and things like that. And even though that's not the kind of smoke you want to cleanse with, it was still a cleansing, transformative fire. And the same with the smoke. So it still was a type of cleansing. Um,
So I'm working more with the phoenix now too.
yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So,
So, well,
yeah.
if there was anything that you would like to leave our viewers with for our very first live show for 2024,
Mhm. Um,
what would it be?
I honestly say, just start making the little changes that help you raise your vibrations, especially that love light vibration. Um, do a 5 or 10 minute yoga routine, change your playlist. Go on Spotify and look up manifestation playlist or chakra playlist. And change your music. get off the TV a little bit earlier, or the phone. If you spend 10, 20 minutes at a time on your phone, get in the habit of checking it. If nobody's called or texted you, then get off social media for a little bit. um, Little tiny habits like that will change into big transformations. And you will see a huge difference in yourself. And also, forgive yourself, love yourself. um, I was able to do that when I was working on forgiving everyone else. I forgave myself. um, and I was able to let go of a lot of those issues too. And um, so yeah, just little changes make big transformations, and use that love light energy everywhere you can.
I think what I would like to leave the viewers with is that you are totally loved more than you absolutely could possibly know. And you just don't know how powerful you actually are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that love yourself and love others.
Yeah.
And what is that song? Love is all you need.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Love is all you need.
Because you can conquer everything with love.
Mhm.
Um, and that's not like a world dominating love. It's a world changing
It's
love.
not a cliche either. It really
No,
is.
no, yeah, you can do everything with love. And and what better to put love out there and receive love back?
Yep.
That's the greatest gift.
Yes, absolutely. So we are going to sign off
Yep.
for,
Thank you for
for
sticking with us. This is kind of a long show, almost a 2-hour show this round, but we're making up for not being able
time.
to be on January. Um, but we love you guys. You are everything, and you are loved. So just make sure you tell yourselves that as well.
All right. Good night. We love you.
Good night.